Hi, welcome to Floyd Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Eduard's rebox of the Hasegawa 132nd P-47D Thunderbolt. Now, we know Eduard do some fantastic reboxings. To be honest, recently I've made my way with the latest one I've just done, to be honest, is a Skyhawk, but we've done various other ones from Starfighters, so forth and so on. So to see them do this old classic kit, which in my mind was an absolute superb kit when it first got released by Hasegawa many years ago, now to actually have all the goodies in there and the box artwork and everything else that we can actually see from Dottie May, it just gets better and better and better. Disclaimer. It is a very expensive kit. As you know, I don't really discuss prices because it's not what it's about the kit. Needless to say, do some shopping and you can pick this kit up very cheap, as in 30 to 50% off if you look around online. But, detraction from the kit is very nice. So basically, in the box we have Dottie May, which is obviously, this is Dottie May just down here, Force's sweetheart. Okay, and a quick run around the box shows you some other beautiful options that we've got down there as well. Okay, looking around on those, and as you can see, it's a bit of a Christmas edition. This, to be honest, this one did come out around about Christmas time. So the reference number on this one is 11103. Okay, and then we can see down here we've got beautiful cartographed, as we'll see in a moment, decals. We've actually got an A2 Dottie May print, which is the nice thing with this one. We've also got resin and photo etch parts, and this is a limited edition of 2000. So this is the bit where everyone's like, you can't build it then because it's limited edition. I don't do limited editions, I build limited editions. Okay, so I like building them, quite frankly. But I know the heretics out there be like, ah, but trust me, they'll probably come out with another version of it. So in this big old box, we have, if I can get that to stick up right, not sure if it will, but we'll give it a whirl, just about. Okay, so down in here, if we start just like this, we have our instructions. So usual thing, very nicely done as we make our way through. Obviously this is a multi-part kit, so we've got different versions of it, so just be careful which ones you're using. Mainly things like props and spinners and stuff like that, but obviously there is different versions of this kit out there. That's why, you know, the reboxing that they've actually chosen to do the D. So just be careful and mindful what you're actually doing with the parts. So usual thing, we've got the parts call out. You can see down here we've got a lovely set of resin wheels, which obviously weight on wheels. Colour photo etch set for the cockpit. We've got photo etch parts which are going to liven up and detail up the engine and a few other parts. We've got a mask set, and we've got a bit of a film set down there as well. So beautiful stuff down here. Usual thing is being, you know, with the Eduard, if it's got red on it, usually means it gets rid of it or pay attention. Okay, and if it's got blue bits in there, it normally means it's photo etch going in there, as we can see. So you're making some small but very noticeable changes throughout the cockpit area. Going through, removing surface detail, and obviously removing things so you can make ready for either resin or in this case photo etch parts as they go in. So it's going to add some great detail to the cockpit tub system on this one for putting all those in. And again, it is full colour photo etch set, so it will give you some very nice lively details. Okay, popping some of those in, some more of these photo etch parts going down side runners of the cockpit, things like that. Again, some little modifications needed to be made, just popping those in, so those are ones that are going down on there. And then really it's just a case of getting the spar system in for the wings, the cockpit tub mounted onto it, and then the two halves coming together. It's quite a quick build, literally just like that. Tailplanes being fitted, depending if you want to have the radiators open or closed down at the tail system there. And then we're working on the wings and the actual wheel wells and putting those in there just like that. Wings get fitted. Again, as I said, it's quite a speedy little process, this. Then it gets sort of technical. The engine itself, there is a resin replacement engine for this out there, which I'm surprised actually they didn't include with this particular kit. But they decided to go down and just include their photo etch set with it. So this gives you the wiring harness for all the starters and for all the plugs as it goes on this one, and then you're adding those details. Again, it's one of those things, if you're doing it buttoned up, I can't really see the point of going down the route of an aftermarket engine. If you were, on the other hand, to be opening up these cowls and everything else, opening right up and showing the engine, then it's going to be pretty much a must. Okay, so generally, as we can see, working those down in there, you're going to close it up probably, so straightforward job down in there. Putting on the cowl flaps, you can either have them open or closed, pretty much standard. And then we've got some photo etch parts being added again, just to liven up the actual main doors for the gear, and some other little parts going down on there like that, and then fitting those into the system. Tailwheel system being fitted down in there again, so you're just popping that in, and then we've got the actual flaps being put together, and again some little bit of photo etch. Sorry, this is just depending if you want the up or down, depending if you want the little cleats in there or not. A little bit of photo etch just going to liven up those details, and this is a nice little touch, definitely if you've got it deployed, to have the photo etch on the ends just to liven up those end plates and detail them up as is required. And then fitting, straightforward job, push fit, open or closed. Drop tanks, so we've got the teardrop tanks, or that sort of slip tank just down the underside of the pylon system, or you could just go with your normal standard free-fall bombs, fitting those down there. A little bit of photo etch down here, as you can see, that's going to be for the gun camera fitted on there, so you can pop that one in, and then it's off to the prop. Okay, so you're working your way on the spinner system down there. Make sure you get the right ones. You've got different versions of it, as you can see down on here. The rail slide system for the actual canopy for moving back and forth. Again, you've got the option to replace some of the details and go in there with some photo etch if you so choose to go down that route. And then it's things like mirrors and a few little details being added into the canopy and onto the gun sight, and then obviously fitting those in, guns in the right order, job done. Again, it's one of their older kits, so it's not going to be a huge, big, complicated build and lots of massive changes that perhaps we've tackled and done in the past. It's definitely not a modern Tamiya 132nd kit. This is their older range of them, but from an overall point of view, it is a beautiful big lump. You know, she's called the Jug for a reason. Very nice indeed. So obviously you've got your markings, as you can see them down on here. So you've got December 1944 with Lieutenant Larry A. Carl down in that one, with Dottie Mate in the Christmas markings, as you can see down on there like that. But we've got other versions down here. So we've got Lieutenant James R. Hopkins, which is March 1945, if you wanted to go for the olive drab look, and then we'll go with the natural metal finish underneath. Okay, and then if you want to go for something very striking, which I must admit I really am taken with this particular one, not because she's topless clearly, but you've got Pilot's Dream, which is Lieutenant Francis Knorr, January 1945. But to me it's beautiful because you've got very nice colour on here, you've got that natural metal finish, you've got the actual invasion stripes and things like that down there. It will make for a very striking aircraft, but all three of those schemes are absolutely beautiful. So in the box we have, I'm not going to get this out because history has told me, because I've got it out once before and it took me ages to get it back in here. This is an A2, which is the same size as my cutting mat, poster, or print they call it, of this actual picture here done. Again, it's limited edition, 2,000 pieces. So that's why you get those in there. What we do, I think we'll just pop around and look at some of the parts we get first. Again, I'm not going to worry about getting these out too much because they're done by sort of cartograph. You know they're going to be absolutely beautiful decals, and you can see they are going to be fantastic. Cartograph, as far as I'm concerned, are the top tier manufacturer of decals. Okay. In the box as well, we do get a very nice colour photo etch set. So as you can see down in here, absolutely beautiful, nice dials, and obviously we've got the harnesses and the different areas in there as well as we've actually got the photo etch set for it as well. So this is that wiring loom for the actual round, the actual pots on the actual engine, so it's your magnetos, things like that being put in. But these are those side details we were talking about down in there, the bulkhead for the heads up and everything else like that. Okay, so as you can see, some nice details, and it'll be enough just to liven it up actually where it needs it, instead of just about stuff you're not going to need. Speaking of which, mask sets, I don't know why, I just never ever use them. They're probably fantastic. Okay, resin. So as I say, it's only the wheels. I must admit I was expecting an engine, but not to be this time. But again, beautifully cast wheels, very nice with the actual diamond checker pattern on there like that, and even the internal hub, which you won't see actually because you've got the outer hub is going to go over this, but you can see the work that has actually gone into that is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and then again we've got the other sides on them like this, very nice indeed. And then we got this guy. I'm wondering if you should see those. I'm just actually wondering if these should be pushed out. I'll have to check that, because you can see this one's got one out. Perhaps they should be out and not in. I'm looking at the actual picture and it looks like they should be out, so I'm saying they should be out. So it may be a case of, this is where I go around wrecking the limited edition. There we go, just push them and they will come out literally just like that, okay? Because technically that's how it's going to go. So it's going to fit into there like that in the open position, so we can see all of that great detail in there. A bit weird how they've done that. But the nice thing is obviously it's weighted wheels. And that's the really important bit, because not only have you got a flat spot, but you've got a slight bulge to the sides of the walls, as you can see them on here, which actually gives you then that real true weight on wheels effect, instead of just putting a flat spot on the bottom to make it look like it's weighted wheels. Okay, for a change I think we'll do the clear parts first. Normally we'll wait till the end, but hey ho. So clear parts, Hasegawa traditionally, their clear parts are always pretty good. Okay, so we can see we've got a canopy, two canopies, you've got open and close. Again, it's old school, it's not as clear as it could be, but I think with a quick dip in some Future Care, which is my sort of dip of choice these days, it should be absolutely fantastic. But you can probably see it's just a little bit grainy, not as clear as perhaps a modern kit. You can see not exactly 100% in that one, so they're not going to win any awards for clear parts. As you can see in the bag as well, we've got some polycaps down in here. They're just to help things stick in a moment for bombs and various things like that. Okay, now the kit itself in this lovely big bag, which I'll try and not decimate. Okay, so okay, what we have, let's start with the wings. So as you can see, it's quite a large sprue. We got some nice details, you can see it there reflecting in the light. It's not overdone with the riveting, but we have got some small amounts of riveting on here, but it's not technically, there's a lot more on this. It's not actually displaying it as the real thing. So this would be a re-rivet job, but that's this kit showing its age just a little bit. But as you can see, you've got some there, but it needs to be fully re-riveted. We've got a little bit of riveting down here on the aileron, but as you can see on that surface detail, it is there, it's just crying out for it. But really it does need to be run around and re-riveted, because this thing did have quite a few on here, as we know. So we've got obviously different under here sections going to be put in for different versions of it. The gun bay, the wheel wells, things like that. That's very nice in here. But again, it's plain but practical. It's the only way you could really describe this. But we have got some nice details even hiding away in here in the flap recess down in there. A little bit of work down in here just to show you locations where things are going to go. But generally all the actual ejector pins are recessed and they are flat, so no problem with those at all. Okay, but this is a slightly older kit. This isn't a modern kit which is going to be, you know, winning awards and all the rest of it, but this gives you an idea of the scale of this absolute lump. It is a beast, isn't it? When you see it like this and the thickness of the actual fuselage, you can understand how much room this thing's actually going to take up. It is going to be quite a large lump. But again, we've got a little bit of a mixture going down here on the part. So we have a scoot in. You can see how this one's been kicking around with a bit of sprue scrape on this, unfortunately. But generally, you can see it has got the details. They're just not as crispy and as nice and sharp as perhaps you might be hoping for. Okay, but again, just bearing in mind it's an older kit, it's showing its age now, it's probably at its end of its life, which the only thing is, it, you know, it begs the question with the price of the kit. You know, and this is the only thing where, you know, as you said, I've got in many an argument with lots of people about prices of kits and things like that recently, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But generally what I will say is that at the end of the day, where else are you going to get a 32nd scale jug with the extras and the bits and pieces in here with some beautiful aftermarket pieces thrown in as well? You know, this is the thing to it. You know, at the end of the day, you have to make your decisions and your choices. And if you're up for it and you're up for a nice build, then definitely this will be the type of thing to go with. Again, because of its age, you might notice under here we've got quite a few ejector pins all over this, but they are all recessed, they are all tucked out the way. There's a little bit of burring as well down here on the actual gear. Well, the camera can pick this up, but there is quite a bit of burring down on there again. Just pop the close-up cam is just a fraction too close for my liking. Okay, but generally it's all there. It's all there, just ready to start off with that sort of, you know, the trip. Okay. Now this side, as you can see, no problem at all on any of these bits, but the interesting thing is it's basically a clone of the other side. We have got the details down here for the engine, and actually looking at this engine now, first time I've seen it in person in, well, many years, It doesn't look too bad. I reckon you could probably get away with that wiring set and the details down in here. Nice paint job on this one, nice little bit of weathering onto it. Show off these details, get these actual parts all moving with a wash and things like that. I reckon it'll be absolutely fantastic with no problem at all. You're just going to have to do a little bit more work perhaps in the interiors to actually get the inside of, you know, the cows. If you're going to cut them open, they're not designed for it, so you're going to have to add all the details to it. Okay. So, down in here, smashing through the sprues, as we can see. Another beautifully done sprue. And again, it is this thing, if we just start at the top, we'll run round. But we've got things, I don't know if it's actually for this version, is it? I don't think it is. This is the tail version for another one up here. But generally, we've got raised rivets and details which are going to be down into that wheel well and everything else. This is one of those cow sections which, you know, you could do it. But again, when you look at it, it's pretty devoid of all interest on the inside and it's a little bit over thick, okay? But looking at the other parts, because it's 1/32, as you can see, it's nothing that isn't gonna be a problem to sort of take care of and do. They're all pretty nicely done. It's good, solid quality, but without the sort of details and the finesse. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, you do need that, the sort of details. You can see how the trouble they have getting that out of the punch, isn't it? Because of the details. But as you can see, nice details all over this one. But again, we've got things like ejector pins down in here, right where we don't want them, inside wheelway doors. You're not going to see it because it's going to be covered by the actual main gear leg itself. But it's just that thing where you have got them there. You do have to be aware of these things, just in case they sneak in. Okay, the wheels obviously you're not going to use, but we've got the £500 bomb as well. And then obviously you've got the slip tanks. But you see the wheels, that's why the upgrade. These are pretty horrible on their own, so they do need a little bit of work. Some of the parts, and there's your bomb as well, which is serviceable. I think you might want to change the fuse on it, but the rest of it's absolutely fine. Okay, on here there's various different props because of the different versions of the jug that is out there. So that's why on here you can probably see we've got various different types out here. So we've got the big paddle ones, the thin ones, the high altitude ones, and the normal bladed ones. So that's why you've got them down on here. But again, looking at the parts, nothing that's really a problem. They're all good, solid parts. There's not a million parts into this kit, which if you're building the bigger stuff and you're one of these guys who doesn't want to get tied up with all the rigmarole of all those fine little bits all over it, then this is probably the kit for you. It goes together very, very nicely. Okay, and then last up we've got this guy, and it has the pilot. I was wondering, so as you can see down here, the different types of tank. You've got the teardrop one and the normal skinny tank, and then over here we've got a pilot figure. Again, doesn't look too bad at all. I think he'll be okay. Unfortunately though, our pilot, if you could see it, he's been shot in the eye. It's got a sink mark right in the eye of all the places. Never mind. Okay, don't do pilot figures anyway. Good job. Alright, but as you can see, there's your other bomb and working your way through. And that is it. So really, this is the bit where, you know, traditionally you'd get the haters. You know, at the end of the day, it's a really good kit. It's a basic kit. It's like a overall kit. When I used to do, during the day, I know, but when I used to do commission work and all the rest of it, I used to offer two types of commission. And basically one of these was known as a static model, which is basically just the outside. There's no details in the inside. It's in no detailed cockpit. There's no change of air intakes. There's no change of wheel wells. There's nothing internally. It's all on the outside. So really that's for collectors who wanted to build an outward shape of a model, and they're not worried about opening it up because they like an aircraft in that finished look, sat on a flight line or flying or whatever it is. Or you'll get the other guys who want all the bells and whistles and they want all the interiors and everything else like that. It's not that kit. This kit isn't going to be one of those kits where it's going to be really easy to open it up and get in there and scratch build it. The plastic's quite thick. You need to thin it out a little bit. There is aftermarket engines available for it. There is a lot of aftermarket stuff available for it. Personally though, because of the type of aircraft this is, it's a big heavy aircraft, I don't think it needs it. And it lends itself really, really well as it sits at the moment without having to be one of these kits which is, you know, just begging for like more detail. It needs this, it needs that. It is what it is. It's a jug. It's a big heavy tank of an aircraft, okay? So I would probably prefer to have it buttoned up just as it is now, sat on the flight line, and if we could have Dottie May sat on the wing as well as a little figure as well, that would be absolute icing on the cake for this particular kit. So there we go. That is Hasegawa's, well, Eduard's rebox of Hasegawa's beautiful Thunderbolt, the P-47D in 1/32 scale.